Flynn come to Cambridge in 2014. You don't introduce a Russian translator to him. You don't then get him involved in this group of spies, basically, with Downer from Australia, and get him involved with Papadopoulos and these other people like Carter Page, if you don't have a plan. Now, I say the plan is to get him involved, or what they call in the FBI, read into the nuclear program that they have going with Russia. And there's basically two prongs of the program. One is the prong run through Iran. It's going to be the Awans, Deripaska, Levinson, etc. The other prong is more toward governments, not toward state sponsors of terrorism that we don't call state sponsors of terrorism. It's going to be more the legitimate, or what we call the legitimate governments of the Middle East. Now, I don't know if Michael Flynn is the guy who's going to sell to both prongs, both to the Iran side, the Shia side, and the Sunni side, or if they're just going to use Mike Flynn as the prong to sell to the Sunni side, the Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, Qatar, all those governments as well. Or if they're going to have him do the security for both sides, If he's going to do the security through this coalition called IP3, they have to read him into both programs. The key here is how much do you let Mike Flynn know, and what happens from this meeting over the next 2 years. Okay, so we're going to run through that really quickly. We went through all the drama of putting Putin next to Flynn in the meeting, and the FBI running Miss Tina Kondalaki at him to try to compromise him. We don't know if he's compromised or not, but maybe they say he is, so that now that they can open up, Brennan and Clapper can open up a CIA investigation. Now there is a counter narrative out there saying, no, Gina Haspel, who just got confirmed as CIA director, was working a counterintelligence operation against the FBI here at this dinner. This was all planned out. Flynn was just trying to expose all this. So just to let you know, there is another side of the story here. But I look at the actions that follow that really tell the story, and it revolves around Flynn being involved in this company called ACU. Okay, so here's the timeline from the congressional investigations. Okay, Flynn is involved. Now there's a year that goes by, or 14 months that goes by, from the Cambridge dinner to the start of this relationship with ACU. And he's in ACU from April 2015 to June 2016. Now remember, he joins the Trump campaign in February of 2016. So he is an advisor to this company up until June 2016. This later morphs into the IP3 company. This ACU morphs into the IP3 company, and Flynn makes a presentation in September of 2016 on behalf of IP3. Okay, just so you get the timeline right. So something happens between the Cambridge meeting, right? Something happens between meeting the translator, meeting all the principals of the Cambridge meeting, reading him into the program. Does he sell both prongs of the Russian nuclear program with Deripaska? Or does he just go to Ukraine to learn the Russian prong to sell to the Saudis and so forth later on? Well, we really don't know that. What we do know is there is a very good timeline starting on June 10th, 2015, of all of his meetings and so forth in Africa, and trying to sell this Russian plan to 8 different nations, as well as Russian weapons. So to 8 different nations of the Middle East. And for instance, he has this speaking engagement on this banned airline, which is this Volga Dnieper airline, which is this Russian cargo plane, etc. He has a lot of meetings with payments, not only from RT for the 45,000, but from Russian secret intel services. Here's Dnieper Volga, and this is basically not a cutout for Halliburton, but they do heavy lift type stuff for pipelines, mainly. I mean, they run the pandas around and the white rhinos around for publicity, but mainly it's for oil and gas type explorations. And our Russian oligarchs are very involved in Volga Dnieper. So if he's illegally flying on Volga Dnieper, it's safe to say he's flying around to different gas pipelines, oil pipelines, and different nuclear installations because they're delivering this stuff. And you want the person that you're training to actually see all this stuff so that you can speak knowledgeably in a sales call. This is sales training for Mike Flynn. Okay, they're reading him into the program. Okay, so now here's more crew here, Citizens for Responsible Ethics in Washington. They're talking about the 68,000 in payments. They're also talking about, the fact that he didn't register to be an agent for Turkey. He's making sales presentations in the country of Turkey. He's making sales presentations that we saw later on in Saudi Arabia. And they've given him a encrypted device. We still don't know what the encrypted device was. Now, later on, it's accused that he uses Signal. So during the transition, he uses Signal. But before that, he had an encrypted device. Now, you're Hillary Clinton. You work with Deripaska. You work with Levinson in Kish Island in Iran. You used the Awans to configure all the devices for Deripaska, Levinson, all the State Department guys, all the Russian engineers, all the German engineers, all the English engineers, all the Chinese engineers, all the Russian engineers, all the Dutch engineers. Everybody on Kish Island's got a phone. Bob Levinson's given everybody a phone. Do you not give Mike Flynn the same phone to read him into the program? I don't know. Maybe they didn't, but I would. I mean, if you want, once you read somebody into the program, you give them the device. It's like hiring an employee. First, do your background check, but once you bring them in, you have to give them a password and you have to give them the phone. I mean, there's just no two ways about it. We have a period of time here from. Excuse me, I got to go back to the timeline. We have a period of time from the June 2015 all the way through the campaign. How does he conduct the business if you don't give him the same phone that everybody else has? And you notice it corresponds almost identically with the Iran-Contra deal. They sign him on and they lure him with the carrot here about 3 months before the Iran deal. You give him the phone, you read him into the program, you say, hey, Mike, you're going to make a lot of money doing the protection of these pipelines, sort of like they did with Eric Prince earlier. You're going to make a lot of money selling the nuclear part. We're going to train you up on that. We'll get you involved in this program. Ex-nay on saying nay on the Iran nuclear deal. Now, I think he did make public statements against the Iran nuclear deal, but again, I look at the timing on these things. Why do you read Mike Flynn into the program on April 2015 if you don't want him to be quiet about Levison and Deripaska and everybody using all these phones, these encrypted phones to communicate? To me, it's a dead giveaway, but maybe people don't see it that way. So anyway, they talk about Signal way later on. The GSA talks about Signal, getting him Signal. And what they say directly in here is, hey, we don't want to do any more encrypted NSA phones. He's already got a phone. So anyway, you can read that. But our airlines and then later Air Emirates to launder the drug money through Kish Island by buying airplanes. I'm sorry, that's just the way it is. There is this plan, a Air Force plan to secretly fly all this stuff from Qatar and UAE later on with Hillary into Kish Island, Bandar Abbas, and the other locations inside Iran. But again, remember, every time you send one of these global hawks too far into Iranian airspace, you create an international incident. If you fly to Kish Island or Bandar Abbas or Kesh, those are free zones, and you don't have to log those. Again, remember who's in the group, who's in the cabal of Iron Bridge and IP3. Keith Alexander, Collect It All. Bud McFarlane, original Awan Contra. Jack Keane, Mr. CNN cover story. And there's Mike Flynn. They cut him in, and there's SunTrust Energy. There's United U.S. Enrichment. Bob Mueller's representative, Rosenstein's representative, Comey's representative, Andrew McCabe's representative. They're all in a coalition. They've drawn Flynn into the piece of this, saying, hey, you can do the security piece of this. We'll spin you up on all the, no pun intended, on the centrifuges and all that. We'll spin you up on what's coming and going inside the planes, inside Dnieper Air. We'll spin you up on how all that works. All you got to do, Mike, is do what you know best, provide security along here. And it's the same exact thing they did with Eric Prince earlier on. Just move the clock back.